And so the Julio Jones saga continues. This time we have a very crucial piece in this story from the man himself, Julio Jones. So, today on Undisputed, Skip and Shannon were talking about a topic related to a picture of Julio Jones that he took with a Cowboys fan. So they were talking about the possibility of Julio ending up in Dallas. And just to spite Skip and basically confirm that Julio Jones doesn't want to go to Dallas, Shannon pulled out his phone and called the man himself live on television. He hit up Julio and he had an interesting conversation. And there was two things we learned from this conversation. Number one, Julio Jones is out. He's out. In terms of Atlanta, he says he's out of there. He's out of there. He does not want to be in Atlanta anymore. So we have that confirmed. Julio Jones wants to be traded. He wants out of Atlanta. That is there. And in fact, based on what he said, he's like, I'm out of there. He's expecting to be traded soon. As soon as that June 1st deadline hits, he expects he will be traded to another team. Number two, he doesn't want to go to Dallas, which, I mean, in all honesty, Dallas doesn't necessarily need him. They have a lot of weapons in the top five offense in terms of just yards. So, they don't necessarily need a Julio Jones. What they need is a good defense. They need defensive players. So, Julio Jones going to Dallas wouldn't help them get any closer to a Super Bowl, championship. So, they don't need Julio. What they need is defensive players. But him confirming that was just funny, just because we could just clown, Cowboy fans. And you saw some of the hurt Cowboy fans like, man, we don't want or need you anyway. I'm like, okay, first of all, we know you don't need him. But the way you said it really showed that you were hurt because he disrespected the Cowboys, which everybody disrespects the Cowboys. Y'all used to this by now. Why you really acting like nobody disrespects the Cowboys? We love making fun of the Cowboys. It's what we do, okay? Like this iteration of the Cowboys, we love making fun of, okay? Until you guys actually, get to a championship game or actually do something relevant, we'll continue to clown you until you do something relevant. That's really all I got to say about that. But yeah, him not going to the Cowboys, that was funny. But the number one thing that came out was him wanting to be out of Atlanta. In his words, I'm out of there. I'm out of there. So, with that in mind, knowing Julio Jones wants to be traded, how is this going to go down? I believe Julio Jones will get traded. Once that June 1st deadline hits, I think he will get traded. It seems like the franchise may have come to some sort of mutual decision to trade Julio Jones himself. He doesn't want to be there anymore. He went to the team and said, I'm open to be traded. I don't want to be in Atlanta anymore. And they obliged, which is why they've been getting so much calls. In fact, they started getting calls before the draft and during the draft. So this is going to start heating up as we get close to June 1st. So now that we know that this is most likely going to happen, even though Falcons fans don't want to see it going down, since we know this is most likely going to happen, where will Julio Jones land? That is the question. I feel like he will land with the team that offers the best deal to the Falcons. Now, because Julio's on the older side of his career and he's starting to get somewhat injury prone, you're not getting a first round pick out of Julio Jones. If you can get a first-round pick, the team who gives the Falcons a first-round pick is the team that's getting Julio Jones. But I don't think any team's willing to give up a first-round pick for Julio Jones on the backside of his career. Of course, he's still Julio Jones. He's still good. And whatever team he goes to, he will definitely be a great asset. But the man's in his 30s. He's been injury-prone the last couple of years. I'm not sure you give up a first-round receiver for that level of talent. So, at that point, what do? You probably look towards getting a second-round pick and whatever deal somebody can give you. Now, involving the teams that could trade for Julio Jones, or at least the teams I believe will be looking to pursue Julio Jones. Who can that be that have a realistic chance at least, or at least would be a team that Julio would want to go to? Because Julio also said in that interview, he don't really care where he goes. He wants to win. He wants to win. So he wants to go to a team that is contending and has a chance to win a Super Bowl. Well, if you ask me, involving the NFC and the AFC, there are three teams I'm looking in the NFC that may be looking to get him. Now, of course, these aren't the only three teams competing. I just think these are the three teams that are looking. For the NFC, I think it is the Seattle Seahawks, the LA Rams, and the Green Bay Packers. I didn't put the 49ers in there because the 49ers seem content with what they have. I mean, they might look to get Julio Jones. They could be a potential X factor, and they're definitely competing for a championship. So bringing in, trading for Julio Jones would be nice. But the Niners are so stacked with young talent and a lot of guys that honestly, I just don't see them really trying to make that trade because they don't want to give up anything. Who knows? Maybe they pull it off. And yes, there are other, contenders or somewhat contenders in the NFC, but they're not trading with the Bucks. They're not trading with the Saints. So I don't see that happening. So the three teams I'm looking at is the Seahawks, the Packers, and the Rams. The Rams would love to get Julio Jones because this would be a great asset to give, a major weapon to give Matthew Stafford in this whole quest to see if the Rams can get a Super Bowl. It really comes down to Matthew Stafford performing. So giving him a guy like Julio Jones would definitely help. They already have a championship level defense. You give Matthew Stafford a weapon like Julio Jones, hey man, he'll make it work. The man's he's literally played with Calvin Johnson in the beginning of his career, so he can easily make it work with Julio. He'll be throwing those 50-50 balls downfield, and Julio will catch them. So the Rams would definitely love to add that nice asset. Not to mention, Jalen Ramsey on Twitter. He don't mind. He definitely spoke how he feels about it. So he would definitely love Julio Jones to come to the Rams. Then you see the next team with the Green Bay Packers. No, let's save them last. Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson, getting him a Julio Jones type player. A legit number one receiver. You're getting him that alongside DK Metcalf and alongside Tyler Lockett. Man, that's a good core. That's a good core. And honestly, it'd be fantastic. Now, they still have to continue to work to improve their offensive line. But you get Russell Wilson, a guy like Julio Jones, oh my goodness, that would be beautiful. And finally, we've got the Green Bay Packers. We all know the situation happening between Aaron Rodgers and that front office in Green Bay and just the whole situation, the entire franchise with Green Bay. We know how that's going on, and it's been very tough. You give Aaron Rodgers a Julio Jones, this situation will get better. Trust me, if the Packers trade for Julio Jones and give him another receiver to pair alongside Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, he's not really going to complain anymore. He'll be more willing to come back than he is right now. So, Green Bay, you got to be pushing to go get that. You got to push to go get that. Because that would be very key for you guys in terms of trying to fix this whole situation you have with Aaron Rodgers. Now, moving over to the AFC, which is the side I think the Falcons are most likely to trade with because I don't think they're looking to trade within their conference. So looking over to the AFC side, I see a couple teams that are there. Obviously, as a Ravens fan, I see my Ravens as one of the teams. And honestly, we have a chance to give one of the best packs. We could probably give the best deal to the Falcons, which is why so many Ravens fans are just hoping and praying and begging DeCosta in this front office to go and trade for Julio Jones. Now, I'll speak on that probably a little bit later today or maybe tomorrow in terms of how I feel about the Ravens trading for Julio Jones potentially, because I have my feelings on it, but the way I see situations going, I'm not so sure they're going to make that decision, especially after the way the draft went for them. But yeah, the Ravens are definitely one of the teams. The Raiders, they're not a contending team right now, but let's not pretend like John Gruden wouldn't go out and get a player he likes. If John Gruden wanted Julio Jones, he don't care what he has to give up. He would give up He would give up anything to get Julio Jones. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that. That's definitely somebody I'll look towards, or that's definitely some team I'll look towards. But they're not the exact team I'm thinking is going to happen. So one of my three, Ravens. Next one, Colts. The Colts, in my opinion, are the most well-built all-around team in the AFC and arguably in the NFL. The only question mark we have revolving the Colts is Carson Wentz. Can he get the job done? Well, if you give him a Julio Jones, we'll see. That can definitely improve his chances. And now you really put it all on Carson Wentz to perform because you would have provided him with everything. Great offensive line, weapons, a great defense. No excuse for Carson Wentz. So the Colts may be looking to do that. They're already a contending team right now. It really comes down to Carson Wentz being the guy they need to take them over the top. So yeah, the Colts may look to try and trade for him. And of course, in my opinion, the number one team, the team I personally believe could actually pull this off and get him. Or at least, I know the Ravens can pull it off, but I just don't see the Ravens doing so. The team I'm actually thinking in the AFC that could probably pull this off, the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry's already spoke out on how he would like this deal. You know, A.J. Brown looked up to Julio Jones as the guy growing up. So this would definitely work out all around. And plus, you add Julio Jones in this offense. So you have Julio Jones on one side, A.J. Brown on the other side, and then you have Derrick Henry. Oh, my God, that is a combination. Honestly, I think the Tennessee Titans really got to fight to get this. So I think that's the team that I believe has the best chance to get him. However, I'm not sure that's going to go down. Honestly, I don't know how it can go down. The Ravens can probably give the best offer, but I'm not sure where they stand on the whole Julio Jones situation, especially after the draft. But, I don't know. My gut's just telling me that the Titans or Colts are going to be the ones to win this one. If there's any AFC that's going to win it, the Titans and the Colts. X factor in this, the Patriots. Never doubt the Patriots. I wouldn't be surprised to see Cam throwing a Julio in New England this fall. If Bill Belichick wants a player, he can go out and get a player. So, I don't know. That's just the X factor. I wouldn't be surprised to see Julio in New England. But I'm really, if I was a betting man, the Titans and the Colts. If Julio Jones is getting traded to the AFC, it's going to be the Titans and the Colts. That's just how I feel about it. I would love it to be the Ravens, but I just don't feel confident in terms of the Ravens actually getting him just because of how well the draft went for them. Then again, you can't have too much talent. So I'm hoping and praying and I'm begging. So I'm taking my own beliefs out of this because I got to take it out and think about it just based on how I look at it. I think the Titans or the Colts have a better chance to get him than the Ravens just because the Ravens seem content with their draft picks. But anyway, that's all I got to say about this. It's heating up, and I can't wait to see who gets Julio Jones. It's going to be crazy, man. When June comes around, it's going to be wild. With that being said, that is all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.